Charmaine here, and I'm super excited to bring you the focus of the week here. And so one of our core values at Ironside Fitness is to be your best, to show up as well as you can each day. That doesn't mean to be always happy necessarily. That doesn't mean to be the same as your partner or your friends or comparing yourself. It's just your best. And one way you can be your best is to think about what is one thing at a time that you can do differently. So I love this quote. Well, I actually kind of made it up. To achieve something you have never achieved, you get to do something different than you have ever done. And the word get, you get to do something different. You don't have to do something different. A lot of the quotes out there talk about what you should do and what you have to do. And, for me, it's like we get to have our best body. We get to live our best life. It's not because we have to or someone told us to. It's because we deserve to. Okay, so I'll say that again. To achieve something you have never achieved, you get to do something different than you have ever done. So just start thinking about that. I love, there's a quote by Einstein that says the definition of insanity is to, continue to do the same things again and again and hope and expect a different result. It just doesn't work that way. So if you are not super happy with the way your body is feeling or looking or moving right now, specifically, obviously, we're Ironside Fitness, we focus on wellness and fitness and all that stuff. If you're not super happy with an area of your life, then realize that the actions you have taken up until now have gotten you to where you are now. And so if you want a different life and a different body and a transformed body and a transformed life and an even better body and an even better life, then it's time to think about what can you do differently, okay? So here's a few tips for the week, just to really remember that all of our actions up until now have gotten us where we are. It's not about, blaming anybody else or playing the victim. I did that for many years and I don't do that anymore. It's about taking personal responsibility for our lives, for our health, for our bodies, not blaming genetics, not blaming anybody else, just taking responsibility. And that doesn't mean like being ashamed of it. It means, okay, I am where I am because of actions I've taken. It is what it is, and I have the power to change it if I so choose. So that's what responsibility is. I like to break it down into response able. You're able to respond to your situation of your life. That's how I look at the word responsibility. You're able to respond. You're able to make a change. Okay, so the second tip is really just to celebrate the heck out of yourself for where you are in terms of there's lots of things that are going right for you. And remember, at Ironside Fitness, we always celebrate. We celebrate every little win on the journey because that's what adds up to big results. It's not just a big change overnight that you're going to make. It's every win on the journey, because the going sometimes gets tough, and that's when we really have to rely on our past wins to keep us motivated. The next one is to think about, that idea of every action we've taken up until now has gotten us here. So think about what actions are not serving you. They're not serving you and your goals. And I want you to think about, for any action, maybe you sit here, you pause the video and you write it down. What are some actions you're currently taking that are not serving your highest purpose? They are not leading you to live your best life in your best body. And I can be totally honest about some of mine. For me, one action that does not really lead me to my goals is having a big dessert after dinner every night of the week. And that is something I love. And so I'm not willing to cut it out. I've come to that conclusion. However, I can definitely have smaller portions. I can choose dark chocolate. I can make tea. I can do things that are more in alignment with my goals for my body than having a big dessert and just feeling kind of blah about myself and then losing momentum and not feeling great. So, that's one action. I want you to think about any actions that are not serving you: skipping workouts, forgetting to meal prep, not grocery shopping, anything. There's thousands and millions. I can't come up with all the examples. I just want to share a couple examples. So think about those actions, and then how can you replace them? What would be a more productive action? It's not about sitting there and going, oh my gosh, I can't believe I eat big desserts. It's going, I love dessert. I love sweet things. What can I do instead that's more productive? Sometimes I have like yummy types of gum that I pop in my mouth. Sometimes I make a delicious tea. Sometimes I just have some dark chocolate. And sometimes when I really want the dessert, I'll sit there and I'll savor it, and I'll have a smaller amount than I would if I was beating myself up for eating it. Okay, so that's for me more productive. And then, I just want you to think of one simple action to add to your life that's different than what you normally do. So this could be anything, okay? And so I'll share one of mine because some of you know, some of you don't know. I have a neurological issue that happened 10 years ago. I crashed in a snowboarding accident. I was on the national team for Canada. I burst my vertebrae. I burst actually a couple of vertebrae in my back, was almost paralyzed. And so I some people know this, some people don't know this. You might be able to see my left calf is about half the size of my right calf because of this neurological issue. And so sometimes I'll be out walking and I'll just trip and I'll fall, and it'll be, well, I'm not really embarrassed anymore. I used to be so embarrassed. But that's really hard for me. So what I've done is I've booked in when I'm going to do rehabilitation. And so I have a routine that I do, and when I do it, I don't trip. And when I forget to do it for weeks and weeks, then I start tripping again. And then my neurological issue becomes more pronounced. I've also hired a personal trainer once a week. And it's the most boring personal training you've ever seen in your life. And he has me do the craziest stuff that you'd look at me and be like, what is she doing? That looks so easy and weird. But it's so helpful because I don't like doing it on my own. So I've done that. I work with him 1 hour a week. A calf raise, like a single leg calf raise, I basically can get about 1 centimeter off the ground on my left leg. So I'm working on that kind of stuff. So that's my action. I've hired someone to help me with this because it's not fun to do on my own. And I've also scheduled a couple times a week to come into the studio earlier before my workouts and do some of my rehabilitation. All right, so I want you to think about, it's not just about the action step, it's also what's your system, what's your structure, what's the system, what's the plan. So for me, it's booking a personal training appointment with this guy and sticking to it like it's a doctor's appointment. That's super important for me. Also writing in my agenda, that's my system. I put my 10-minute in before my workout and I go earlier and I work on my rehab. So that's my system. So it's not just about having all these ideas and actions in our mind, it's about putting them on paper, putting them in our phone, making a system so that it actually happens. And this is the difference between just thinking about it and actually putting it into practice. Okay? So I want you to really think about what's a system, what's a reminder, what's a structure that you can put in place so that what you say today is important to you actually happens week after week. Because you've probably felt it. A month can go by and you're like, what the heck? I said I was going to do this thing. I said I was going to do meal prep and I haven't done it yet. And that doesn't happen if you have reminders in your phone going off twice a week. That only happens if you completely forget to set any kind of system or structure or reminder in place. All right? And then I want to just encourage you, do something different. Maybe this can just be so simple as your workouts, okay? Challenge yourself to be your best in your workouts, whatever that looks like for you. A couple ideas I have that I do is before I even step on the gym floor, I'm setting an intention of how I want to show up in that workout. I want to show up as my best. I want to show up strong. I want to show up with endurance. I want to sweat like crazy. That's my intention. Guess what? If my intention is that I don't want to sweat because I don't want to have a shower and I just don't feel like working very hard, I'm not going to get a great workout. It doesn't matter how good the coach is, doesn't matter what they're doing, doesn't matter the workout. That's my mindset. That's what I'm going to get. So I like to go in and set my intention of I'm going to be sweaty when I leave here. I'm going to feel like I gave my 110%. And that's what's going to give you the results, is when you start to challenge yourself. If you ever come to my workouts, I'm always saying if it challenges you, it changes you. And if it doesn't challenge you, it's going to maybe help you maintain, which is great too, but it's not going to transform you the way with speed and efficiency that you want. Okay? Another idea is just to really, way to make your workouts better is to focus on your form more. Just check yourself in the mirror. Make sure you look aligned. Ask the coach to help you with form. Make sure your core is braced. Make sure you're breathing deep. Make sure you're focusing on the muscle of the day. And that's going to get you even better results. Maybe consider asking for more weight or grabbing more weight yourself. 2 pounds more, 5 pounds more. Remember, you're so strong. And when it challenges you, it changes you. So as a recap, the focus of the week is all about being your best by doing one thing different. And remember, to achieve something you've never achieved, you get to do something. You get to do something. You get to do something you've never done. And this is an exciting thing because let me tell you, if all of your action steps feel hard and arduous and like you have to do them, you're not going to stick to it. It's going to be hard and arduous. It's not going to be fun and enjoyable. And our brains and our spirits, we like joy. We like fun. And so try to make them as enjoyable. Change your mindset. You get this. You get to work out. You get to eat healthy. You get to get massages, you get to have more rest, because it's going to allow you to live your best life. And I think that's pretty dang exciting. Okay, so the share of the week is sharing below, what is one productive action this week that you're excited to add to your routine? And what's a system or a structure or a reminder that you're going to put in place so that you do it consistently enough that it becomes a habit? You know, it takes at least 21 days to create a habit. So you're going to probably need a reminder or a system in place for at least 21 days, probably longer, to make sure it becomes a habit. So make sure to share below what your action step is going to be that you know will be super powerful in helping drive you forward towards your goals, towards your dreams for your body in any area. And also, what's one system or structure or kind of reminder that's going to make sure that it happens? Because if it's not a habit now, you're going to need some structures and systems in place to make it become a habit. So I'd love to see your shares below. Have an amazing, amazing day. Bye for now.